We're again going to be using our properties of logarithms today to solve exponential equations. We got our steps right here, so we'll look back on these later on, but isolate the exponential term, take the natural log, so something to keep note of today, we're going to be using ln as our major function here on the calculator. So taking the natural log of both sides, use the product of a power rule, what I know or what I've called more as the traveling exponent rule. Remember, if you have the ln or log of something, that exponent can travel to the front and become r times ln m, okay, the traveling exponent. And finally, we're going to solve for the variable. All right, taking a look at our first example, we've got 4e to the x plus 6 equals 53. And you'll just notice here, we want to be able to solve this. Solve or isolate x. The problem is x is located up here as the exponent. So kind of looking at the steps, eventually we're going to use the traveling exponent where that comes down, but we can't do that until it's been ln'd or logged. All right. Now, what you want to do first is try and get rid of as many numbers as you can. So any of the normal numbers, the regular numbers downstairs, let's move those. So the 4 is connected to this e term by multiplication, so we're going to divide it off to the other side. All right, so 4 cancels. I've got e to the x plus 6 equals. You can go decimal here, you can leave it as fraction. I'll just leave it as fraction for now. 53/4. Okay, so now I've gotten a little bit closer to this x. I need to move that x down. So what we're going to be using today is the ln piece of it. So if I ln this side, now I know when it's got an ln, I can take this whole exponent and move it to the front. So that's what I'm going to do. But remember, I ln this side, I've got to ln this side. Okay, so I'm going to move the x plus 6 forward. So we've got x plus 6 times ln of e equals ln of 53/4. Okay, so that's what I've done. All right. Now I want to get x by itself, so now x is in the parentheses, but at least it's not an exponent anymore. That ln e is connected by multiplication, so what I'm going to do to move it to the other side is divide it over. Okay. Now you may be tempted to cancel out those ln's, but it doesn't work like that, so don't do it. We've got x plus 6 over here equals, and now we've got ln 53/4 over ln e. I want to get the x by itself, so we're kind of making this a little bit messy, but the last step would be minus 6 on both sides. So x equals ln 53/4 over ln e minus 6. So x is all by itself. We're not going to say it's done yet because we want an answer right here. What you want to do is now put this whole thing on the calculator. All right, so we'll go piece by piece because we want an actual decimal answer. Let's go top first. Well, yeah, top. So on your calculator, make sure you're using the ln button. So the ln of 53/4, so ln of 53/4 is, and we're going to do a little bit of rounding here, 2.5840. Okay. On the bottom, you can put ln of e in your calculator, or you should know that ln and e are opposites of each other, so that's really just a 1. You can put it in your calculator to prove it. And then the whole thing is minus 6. So we've got 2.584 minus 6. So we come out to negative 3.4160. That's what x is. All right, so we've solved for it. Okay. So the more we practice with these, the better we get. Let's try another one. We're going to go ahead and solve. We've got 15 to the negative 4x plus 9 equals 66. I want to get this term by itself. 15 is the base. Can't deal with that just yet because over here I also have this 9. So subtract the 9 over. So get rid of like the extra numbers first. 66 minus 9 gives me a 57. Now's the time that I want to get this thing down. The only way it moves is if I can ln stuff. So I ln this side, I ln that side. That allows me to move this to the front. And now it's no longer an exponent, but more of a coefficient in the front of this, or just another term being multiplied in front. Okay, so I still want to get the x by itself. I'm going to divide off this ln 15 onto both sides. So I've got a negative 4x equals ln 57 over ln 15. Alright, so you could do calculator now, you could do calculator later. Eventually I will need to divide this negative 4 off, and I don't want to make a triple fraction over here, so I'll do that in a little bit. So ln 57 of 57 is 4.0431, okay, and ln of 15 comes out to 2.7081. Alright, if you can put all those in the calculator at the same time, you should be good to go. 4.0431, because if you're able to do everything at once, then you're not rounding any of the numbers. So that comes out to a 1.493. Okay, and then final step is to divide that by a negative 4. So those cancel, divide this by negative 4. So we're going to get a negative x answer again of negative 0.3732. Okay, so they do come out to kind of ugly answers, but it's because of the calculator. Alright, calculators and the LNs create those decimals. Really just no way around it. Alright, and finally, let's go one last one. Let's go ahead and solve. So this one says 5.9 times 8 n minus 1.9 plus 10 equals 19.2. Okay, so a lot of pieces here. Obviously I can't get to that n yet. If you want to consider it x, you can do that. But I can't get to this just yet. Alright, I do have this piece up front, and I have this piece over here. Okay, see on that side of the equal sign. The 5.9 is connected by multiplication, the 10 is connected by addition. The one that moves first is the 10, okay, because we're going opposite order of operations. So minus 10 on both sides. So 5.9 times 8 to the n minus 1.9 equals, that's a 9.2. Still need to get that n by itself, but now we're dealing with the 5.9. We're going to divide it off on both sides. 8 to the n minus 1.9 equals, I'm going to calculator that right now because I don't want to have too many fractions. 9.2 divided by 5.9 is a 1.5593. Okay, so I'm basically there. Once you get the base kind of by itself, now I'm ready to do my ln stuff. So ln this side because that allows this to move, but I ln both sides. So I've got n minus 1.9 in the front times this ln of 8 equals ln of that number there, and I'm going to contain that just because it's a decimal. Alright, starting to get n by itself. I'm going to break off this ln on both sides by dividing. I am left with n minus 1.9 equals ln 1.5593 over ln 8. You can do calculator now or calculator later, because the last thing is just to add this 1.9 on both sides. So we can kind of slip it there at the end. So n equals, so I'll put the calculator numbers on here just so you can kind of watch as it goes. ln of 1.5593 is a 0.4442. ln of 8, 2.0794. Okay. Still can't add yet. We got to do our division first, order of operations. So this is happening first. So 0.4442 divided by 2.0794, 0.2136, and now I can add 1.9 to it, and there we go. Our answer for n is 2.1136. Alright, so the thing today is we've got to unlock that exponent. If the variable is up in the exponent, we got to get it down by doing our traveling exponent rule, but the only way to do that is to activate it with the ln function.